How's your week been?
Yeah, a little bit rain is here. So it was a little bit rainy time here, rain and winter together.
Yeah.
So,
We got about 2 days ago, we got about maybe 30 centimeters of snow.
okay.
So it was like snow, well, probably snow up to our knees pretty much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we were out there shoveling. It took maybe like 3 hours or more to clear the driveway. It was crazy.
Okay.
We haven't gotten snow like that in a long
India,
time.
oh, really? In India, only in Himalaya side we can find the snow. So I am the eastern part of India. So
Yeah.
here is very not so much cold, but for us we're feeling little cold.
What's the temperature?
Normally 18, maximum this time 20, 21, and minimum is 13, 11, like that.
Oh, that's like summer for us.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So do you want to get started?
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
should
cool.
start.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with one simple prayer. We'll pray to Sage Patanjali. Now join your both palms, close your eyes. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sarirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram munina Patanjalim pranjaliranuttosmi. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Salutation to Sage Patanjali. Gently open your eyes once again. Thank you very much for inviting me into this beautiful session. So last time we all discussed something about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So I just want to recap some little brief about what we discussed last session. I started with a small story, like we all are here. We have lots of pain and suffering in this material world, and yoga is like a boon. It's like a gift given to us to overcome all this pain and sufferings. And generally we discuss there are three types of sufferings: the adi bhautika, the physical pain and sufferings comes from the material world, and some mental pain and sufferings which comes from our within, like just like we discussed about the stress, anxiety, lots of mental disorders. And the third, we discussed about the natural calamities which comes from the divine being, imbalance of the nature. So these three types of pain and sufferings can be cured, can be overcome by the yoga. So yoga is a boon, and if we see the literal meaning of yoga in Sanskrit language, it comes from the root we call use, and these have also three meaning. The first one, yujir yoga, it means yoga is the union between the small individual entity with the supreme entity, the Atma and the Paramatma. The individual soul unite with the supreme soul. And the second meaning of use is called use sayamne. It means the yoga is the discipline. Like earlier we discussed, the first sutra, first verse in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra starts with Atha Yoga Anusasanam. We should start our yoga with discipline. Without discipline, we cannot practice yoga. And the third meaning of use, or the root meaning of the yoga, is use samadho. Yoga means the state of samadhi, or the state of liberation, state of balance. So this yoga have a very deep meaning, and also we practice yoga for deeper state of mind. And in India, if we see our yoga history, we call it is one part of Indian darsana or Indian philosophy. There is also little difference between philosophy and darsana. In Western world, we call as philosophy, it means the development of our overall personality. But in Indian philosophy, we call as darsana. Darsana words represent darsati iti darsana. It means to see, to visualize, or to develop a higher vision that the purpose of human life, how to deal day-to-day problems in our life, how to overcome the obstacles of life, and how to maintain a very balanced or beautiful life. So this darsana, Indian darsana, gives more deeper meaning about the philosophy. And yoga is one part of Indian philosophy. There are 6 Indian philosophy, and 6 continue with 3 pair, means one pair consisting 2 darsana or 2 philosophy, and yoga in that 3 pairs, one goes as the theory and another goes as the practical philosophy. And yoga also continue with another pair is called Sankhya philosophy. So Sankhya is just like a theory. It gives us some theoretical knowledge how to practice yoga. So both are interrelated. If we want to understand yoga knowledge, we little bit have to know something about Sankhya philosophy. But in this session, we'll go more about Yoga Darsana or Yoga philosophy, which is compiled by the Maharshi Patanjali. So we'll continue more. So we'll go with that story that like that one of boy like us, he was thinking to develop his life, and he go for asking to the master. We can think like we are like that boy or that student and searching up the master, and our master is Sage Patanjali. Now the first question we asked, Master, now I'm ready to develop my life. I want to study yoga, and just going to the Sage Patanjali and approaching to learn yoga. And the first sutra starts, Patanjali was starting with Atha Yoga Anusasanam. Let's start the auspicious practice which is called the yoga. And in another way, it was also derived Yoga Anusasanam. It means yoga start with Anusasana, or the discipline. Every student, if they want to develop their yoga journey, they must develop some disciplined life. And the next question, immediately the student asking, now I'm ready, disciplined life, please tell me, what is yoga? What is the meaning of yoga? So now the next sutra the Patanjali gives us yoga chitta vritti nirodha. The meaning of yoga is to control our mental modifications or the flickering mind, our chitta, which is going always here, there, wavering like in the ocean, we see the waves always coming, going, moving here, there. Like that, our chitta is moving here, there. Earlier also we discussed the chitta have three components: mana, buddhi, and ahamkara. Mana means the mind, buddhi means the intelligence, and ahankara is the ego or our personal identity. So these three is consisting, and in some text also we talk about chitta is called antakarana. Antakarana means our internal being. Now whatever we looking outside is called external being, and there is some internal being, and that is called chitta. And this chitta also have 5 states. And these 5 states I want to explain here just to understand how our internal being moving here, there. The first one, the chitta moves, we call in yoga is called chitta bhumi, means the chitta internal beings moving here, there in 5 states. The first state is called mudha. Mudha means the dullness. Sometimes we see our internal being or we can say our internal thing as mind. Mostly in English, we not talk about chitta as the 3 component, we talk as mind. Let's say general way, let's say mind. So we can feel sometimes our mind is dull. We're feeling lazy. We're not feeling very active. So that state of mind is called mudha. And the second state is called skipta, or moves unsteadily. It's move randomly. It's never stop. Just going here, there, going here, there. There is no stoppage. Flickering like anything. It's have no stoppage. Going always. There is no balance. So sometimes our mind also like that, restlessly, without any stop. It's just going here, they're thinking a lot. And the third step is called Viksipta. Viksipta, little bit better than the Skipta. It have less anxiety, it's go here, there, but sometimes it becomes stable. Like I can say, some people, you can find some people, they start their education, let's say they go for engineering study. After some times or after some years, when they finish the course, they're feeling this career maybe not looking very good. They're going for management. Some people after management, again, they're thinking some other department. Means they're stable for some time, but later they're not satisfied and they move to other department. So mind also sometimes stable, sometimes restless. So this is called Viksipta, the state of anxiety, but little better. And the fourth one is called Ekagra, or the state of concentration, little bit more stable. And the yoga starts from this state of mind. When our mind have little bit concentration, or we call the Ekagra Chitta, we can start our yoga journey. We cannot practice yoga if our mind is in the first state, we call the dullness or laziness, is a mudha. The second is skipta or restlessness, and the third is viksipta, sometimes stable and most of the time not stable. So we have to cross this three state of mind and come to the fourth one is called ekagra, or the state of concentration.
Do we
And the
all
last one,
do we all
yes,
go through these states
yeah,
before even
our mind is always in this five state, and mostly we are in that three.
and mostly we're in the three? Yeah, I was gonna say because I am in a lot of those states sometimes.
Yeah. No, most of us. I will tell you why we are in this three stages, not go to the concentration. And the last one is called the state of niruddha, or it is deep. It is called the restraint of our mind. Our mind is completely balanced. So these four states, our mind always going, and if we see our mind, it flickers. It in going in these the five stages, because of three mode of the nature. If we see the nature, there is three modes, or we call the three guna: the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness. You might know about these three modes. Our nature, if we see the nature, it have the three elements, and by that three elements, our mind changes always. Because we live in this material world, and the material world have these three nature. And these three nature always sometimes make us very lazy. We call mode of ignorance. Let's say at the night, our mind feeling mode of ignorance, and we feel lazy, we feel sleepy, we feel drowsy, we want to not do any activities, we just want to sleep. And the daytime, it is the nature is called a mode of passion. We're feeling active, we want to do something, we want to work outside, we don't want to sleep in the daytime. So this is the natural way of changing our mind. And the third one is mode of goodness, and this happens like, let's say, the morning of early morning, the fresh air coming. In yoga we call as Brahma Muhurta. This is the right time to concentrate, to do the meditation, to do all the yoga practices. So these three modes always change our mind, and our mind moves in these five states. First one we discuss, the Mudha, or the dullness; Vikshipta, the agitation or anxiety; the Skipta; and the third one, Vikshipta, little better than the second one, but it is unstable. And the fourth one is the Ekagra, which is very stable and very good state of mind to practice yoga. And the last one is called Niruddha. It is the state of restraint of our mind. It is more deep concentrated, no any flickering. So these five stages, we can see our mind always move in these five states. In yoga we call Chitta Bhumi. Now we'll discuss about the why Patanjali talking to restrain our mind, why he talking Chitta Vritti Nirodha, why we need to control, why we need to stop all the flickerings of our mind or the Chitta. In yoga, we call these vrittis, or these flickerings of mind, create the samskara, or the impressions in our consciousness. For example, our mind watch something. Let's say we see some scenery or some outside, some beautiful things. Immediately it gives you an impression. And that impression creates the karma, or we call some activity, some action. And that actions give us some fruits. We call as karma phala, or the fruits from that action. If we see some good things and we do something good things, and we get the good fruits. If we see something bad, we do something bad activities, and we get the bad results. These good results and the bad results both develop another samskara, another impression in your mind. And again, that impression develop some action. So we can see it is just like a cycle from vrittis to some samskara, and from samskara, from some impression to some action we call karma, and from karma again we create the samskara or the impression. And if we see the human life, we are moving in these vrittis to samskara, samskara to karma, karma to again samskara, again vrittis, like this way, and it develops new birth and again death. We call the janma mrityu chakra, the cycle of birth and death. And in between we also find jara and vyadhi. We get disease and old age. So all this sequence, if we see the cycle, it's develop human suffering, pain in this material world. If we want to be happy, we have to finish this cycle. No samskara, no karma, no vrittis, and no death, no birth, no old age, and no disease. So yoga develops to restrain or cessation of these vrittis and stop all this cycle. So Patanjali give us this Yoga Sutra. It is just like the thread to connect all the yogic techniques, and it is just like a gift to this human society to stop this chakra, this cycle of birth and death, and live happily. Or we have to go to the divine consciousness. We have to develop some divine consciousness, not live like we can say. Many of us, we maybe look like human, but now we can see the humanity going down. So by practicing yoga, according to Patanjali, we will go higher. We will develop the consciousness from animal life to human life, from human life to the great human life, and from great humanity, we can go to the divine life, which is real our nature, which, like we say, the soul is divine. And this divinity we can feel when we come to the consciousness of the soul. Now we are not in the consciousness of soul, we are simply living the consciousness of this body. In yoga we call dehatma buddhi. All suffering, all the pain and suffering we get, we feel, because of we are thinking, I am the body, I am the master of this body. Whatever I'm doing, we all doing for the benefits, for the pleasure of this body. But actually, this body is perishable. So now we can think according to the instructions of the Patanjali that we are not the body, we are the soul, and our consciousness should develop. Now, our consciousness is moving in this vritti. So we all already know about the meaning of yoga. Now we will talk what are the vrittis. So in the next sutra, Patanjali talking, there are 5 vrittis. Vritaya, Panchataya, Klishta, and Aklishta. So our mind flickerings in 5 states, and these vrittis sometimes give us pleasure and sometimes also give us pain or give us sadness. So sometimes klishta, sometimes very painful, and sometimes aklishta, very pleasurable. Now we'll discuss one by one what are the different vrittis. Pramana viparaya vikalpanitra smrutaya. So Patanjali talking, there are 5 vrittis. First one is called Pramana. And Pramana means the knowing the correct. We all, if we see our mind, it's always trying to know the correct, the truth. We all want to know what is the real thing. And this pramana, or proving that I am right, I am correct. So mind always go for that. Let's say, take an example. You do some work and somebody comes to you and told, oh, what you are doing, it is not good. It is not beneficial for the society. So immediately your mind going to explain him that how it is good for the society. Means what you are doing, you feeling this is the good and you are doing. If someone asks you that this is not good, or if he trying to tell you that this is not correct way, so your mind immediately going to prove that I am doing the right. So in this way, your mind or your internal being absorbed in the making the things correct. So sometimes if you defeat that person, you feel happy. If you not defeat, he make you defeat, you feel sad. So your mental, your vritti make you happy, sometimes make you sad. Okay. So the first mental modification, we talk about the pramana, or the knowing correctly. Our mind always wants to know the correct things. And in Yoga Sutra, Patanjali talking, there are 3 types of pramana: pratyaksha, anumana, and agama. Pratyaksha means what our eyes see, what we just see by our this senses, and that we consider as the proof, as the pramana. And the second one is the anumana, or we call by our sense, by our thinking. Let's say my father taught me something, so I feel my father talking this, so I make an imagination. I feel maybe my father talking, so these things will be like that. And based on that, our mind think this is the correct. Have you got my point? Means we consider by some, means I can give you one example. Like you saw some fog, maybe someone is firing something, you will not see the fire. You simply saw the smoke or the fog, and you feel that if there is the smoke, if there is some fog, it means maybe there will be some fire. So you just imagine by looking something and you feel this is the correct. And the third one is agama. Agama pramana means by some scriptural reference or some text or some of your gurus, some of your master, they told something, and based on that, you think this is the correct. Your mind accept that this is the correct. So there are three types of pramana: pratyaksha, direct feeling by our senses, and anumana, by imagination, by feeling, and agama, by the reference from the text or from the master. We feel the thing is correct. So this is the first britti where our mind, our chitta is going, and sometimes enjoy, and also sometimes get the pain. And the second one is called the viparya, or the misconception, knowing the things incorrectly. So our chitta or the mind sometimes go to this second vritti, misconception. The thing is, sometimes we understand the truth in different way, and the untruth look like the truth. We're feeling the untruth like the truth. So this is called the viparya, and the mind spend lots of time and observe in this second point is called viparya. And the third one, mind goes to the vikalpa, or we call the imagination, false imagination. We call fantasy. And the fourth one is called the nidra, or we can say the sleepness. So mind, when not do anything, is just thinking for sleep. And the fifth one is called smriti, or recollection of our memories. So if you see our chitta, our mind moves in these 5 points, sometimes go for pramana, sometimes go to the viparya, sometimes go to the smriti, nidra, or vikalpa. All these 5 things, it's make our mind disturb. Sometimes we feel a pleasure, sometimes we feel pain. So next time we'll discuss how to stop from these 5 elements, 5 vrittis, our chitta, how can control, what are the different techniques given by the Patanjali, and if these 5 vrittis give us the pain, so what kind of pain or suffering in this material world? So I will tell you more details about the pancha klesha, the 5 obstacles or problems of this human life, and I will talk about the different techniques, how we can overcome, how we can control our mental modifications. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. Namaste. We'll conclude with one prayer, the Santi mantra. Let's join your palms together. Take a deep breath and relax your body and mind. for universal peace and brotherhood, we'll chant a mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukhavat bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Again, next week, same time, it'll be better. And I'm thankful for tolerate me with this bad throat. I hope next time I'll come with good